think it's back.
Oh, we've got sound.
Take two. Mic check 69.
Mic check 69. Here we go.
Oh, okay. I was like, where the fuck am I hearing it from? And that's the other thing. If you have it live, turn your volume almost all the way down.
Almost
all the way down to mute and then up one. Because for some reason, if it's muted, they also won't count.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They're so picky.
It's a bunch of stupid ways that they try to weed out people that like create 9 million bot accounts and then just set them.
That could be us.
Not us.
We're not bots.
Well, we're not bots.
Get right ahead.
We're not AI.
All right, well, here we go. Take two.
Who
Hey,
are you,
everybody.
my
Welcome
friend?
to the Bold Will Hold podcast, brought to you by Bluebird Tattoo. My name is Jordan Clow. I am also known as the Stray Tats on Instagram and on Facebook and TikTok. To the right of me is...
I'm Haley, also known as Yellow Bud Designs on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
I am Cheyenne, a.k.a. Rainstorm Tats on Insta, Facebook, Gmail. I got a website, TikTok. I think that's all of them.
She's got
You're very
everything.
social.
Everything.
I try.
My name's Britton Bartz. I have an Instagram and a Facebook, and they are at BRB_arts with a Z, because it's my last name, not because I'm cool.
You sure about that? You might
Yeah.
be kind
Womp womp.
of. So yeah, the first thing I would like to talk about is a little bit about our styles. So I'll go first. The first style that I really like to do is traditional. It's where I started my roots about 13 years ago when I started tattooing at James Custom Tattoos right down Central here. Shout out to those guys. Lots of respect. That's where I started. I owe them a lot. But yeah, traditional is one of my favorite styles to do. I also like neo-traditional. We will have a picture up of a neo-tat flower that I did. It's fun, cool, new style that I'm mixing up, doing different styles of flowers, just kind of making them my own. And then I also like to do black and gray a lot more now. Here's a big back piece that I did. It's about 15 hours that I put into the back. It was a lot of fun to do. But yeah, those are three of my favorite styles to tattoo in. And next is Haley.
So, I started tattooing almost 2 years ago now. I'm the baby. And I do a few different things, kind of dabble in everything, trying to figure out what it is that is my calling. But I like doing a lot of fine line stuff. I like doing fine line floral. I have a pretty young clientele, so it's a pretty popular style. I think I have like a fine line rib piece that we're about to put up now. Yeah. So lots of stipple included in fine line. And then I also like doing kind of black and gray illustrative as well. Also utilizes a lot of stippling and soft gray shading, but I've done that. I think I have like a little kitty we're gonna show here soon. Yeah, and that's always been a fun one for me. And then I also really dig doing like groovy style tattoos, so very 70s, 60s inspired. Maybe a lot of color. Maybe Nick's pop culture tattoo here to show you. That kind of encapsulates that. And then I really like I've started kind of dabbling in realism too. Black and gray realism, color realism. I am still pretty new to tattooing, so it's been fun kind of learning and growing and trying new things with realism. So yeah, and you can see it now.
Someone fixed
Sweet.
it.
And then Shay.
I have been tattooing for about 5 years, 4 years. I don't know. I started right before COVID, and COVID time is always weird. 4
Yeah.
years for sure.
4 years here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
At that time before it doesn't really count. We won't talk about that. I do a little bit of black and gray stipple work, but mostly color. I have a couple more black stipple work sleeve that I will show you guys. Some more soft black and gray, a recent hand tattoo that I just did. But most of the time you can catch me doing super colorful glitter tattoos. I kind of started working with the glitter style when I was an apprentice, and I just kind of kicked off with that. A lot of people started coming to me for it, and I've just been doing it since.
You've been doing that for like literally the entire time
Yeah.
that you've been tattooing.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I've done a couple. I like doing pop culture tattoos. I love doing bugs, little chibi creatures, anime tattoos, anything. Yeah, sometimes I do a little more scandalous tattoos, cactus,
That
naked
SpongeBob
mushroom
flashy.
ladies. Oh yeah, SpongeBob in a thong.
Yeah, caked up Gary.
I don't know, I just like having fun. The glitter style definitely is a lot of fun too. So, yeah.
I like doing a few different styles. Black and gray realism is one that I do a lot of. I like doing particularly animals. So really anything like Nat Geo. I go to bed watching documentaries. So if I tattoo, I'm cool with that too. And then color realism, which, you know, just add in color to that mix with the realism. And like I said, animals, they're where it's at. So like pet portraits or, you know, even just wilderness scenes, they're cool. And then the other style that I do is deconstructed tattoos, and that one's cool. I really like that. I saw an artist maybe a few years back doing that style, and it just inspired me a lot. It pulls a lot from traditional tattoos. Yeah, but it's got a cool like stamp-like quality to it, or you know, like logo design feel to it, and it's something that's super easy and readable from further away. So I think it's a lot of fun.
I feel like deconstructed pulls a lot from other styles of tattooing that
Definitely.
is super cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's nice and bold. We like that over here.
We do like that
Yes.
boldness.
It's in our
Those are some
name.
extra
bold,
bold.
bold, you know. Yeah. We all definitely kill it in every style that we work in, and that we really truly enjoy. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about our styles. One big style that Cheyenne and I always get confused in is I like to do party dots. I've been doing party dots. It's my style that I've been doing for a long time. It's not my style, but it is something that I have been doing for a long time. But it's very similar to glitter. The
I feel
difference
like it's
is
a confetti vibe.
yes, yeah. I call them party dots because they're nice, chunky. Yeah, it looks like confetti that's shot out of a confetti gun.
Yeah.
You know, at the Sesame Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It reminds me of like old school like circus vibe too, like just because it's like got so many big bright bold colors next to
Yeah.
each other.
100%. And then Cheyenne, she does a lot of the glitter, which she kills. We've done quite a few collaborations together.
Yeah, we should have sent the.
Yeah,
the
we
collab
should have
piece.
sent that one that has
Oh.
party dots and glitter. But
Yeah, I
talk
used
a little
really.
bit about glitter.
I use really small needles, like type 5s, type 3s, and I do a lot of layering. Do a lot of black and then different tones. If I'm doing like red, I'll do a dark red, medium, lots of white at the end.
Don't give out all your secrets.
But it does.
Shoot.
It gives a different effect
us a
for
tutorial.
sure.
Yeah,
Tutorial.
Compared
sometimes
to
you know I
the
gotta
party dots.
work with the color wheel a little, bring some other random colors in there that you probably wouldn't even notice at the end of it.
Yeah, I feel like the difference too with glitter and party dots is with party dots you can kind of sporadically place the color. Glitter is a little bit more, you have to like create a flow.
There's
Yeah.
a light source
a
with it.
gradient usually.
Dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the way
What
that
a
I like to do
dimension with
mine
your
too, I like to
glitter.
do it more where you almost don't know that it's glitter when you're looking at it from far away, but then when you get up close, you see all those different dots that just kind of trick your eye into.
Yeah, it
filling
still
in the
looks like a
space.
fully saturated tattoo. You know,
Mhm.
it's just a lot of little dots.
It's cool because it
Lots of
actually has like that
dots.
shimmer effect too. It's weird.
And common misconception: no glitter in the
Oh my
inks.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
I am
just
not putting my
There is no
glasses
glitter
trying
in our
to
inks,
get your
guys.
I
attention.
promise.
Yeah.
That's just how to make a viral video is what
Yeah,
that is.
right?
Yeah, that was common, and then people started doing that, and it really got worse.
Mhm.
Just when I thought it was over, people
Don't
started
believe.
literally putting ink in ink caps and making funny little videos.
It hurts my brain sometimes.
Yeah.
The things
Oh my
that
god,
people
don't even
do.
mention it to my mom. 'Cause so many people, so many of my mom's friends are like, she puts glitter in the ink? No.
What are you doing over here?
I think after like the 5th time, my mom was just like, you fucking dumbass. There's not glitter in the ink. I'm like, Mom, people don't know.
All right, so let's move on to our next category that we'll go into. We'll talk about black and common misconception is black and gray and realism. I feel like it happens quite a bit. Like someone will come in and they'll be like, "Oh, I want a realistic rose," and then they show us, and it's just a black and gray rose.
Yeah.
It's not hyper realistic. Like, I think that's one of the big common misconceptions that I see come into the shop. But Britton, you work more in the realism style, so
Well, it's interesting when you first mentioned like when people get confused between I want a black and gray rose versus I want a realism rose. They're two totally different realms. Like yeah, there's black and gray tattoos, but realism fits within black and gray. But so does traditional. So does like glitter could potentially.
Yeah.
And so when you tell an artist, I want a black and gray rose, that kind of like then we can kind of talk. Okay, well, what style of rose? You know, obviously we know you don't want color, but what like style do you want to go from there? But when you say you want a realistic rose, then that automatically narrows it down and takes away every other style that's not realism. And then you decide, okay, is it a black and gray rose, realism rose, or is it a color realism rose? Yeah. I don't know. That was just, when you said it, I thought about that.
yeah. Anybody else want to?
I feel like realism specifically doesn't really utilize a whole lot of line work, where you do see that throughout pretty much every other style of black and gray.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good telling sign of whether you're looking at just a black and gray style or are you looking at a realism style. Also, is it like pretty close to like photorealism? Does it look like a picture, you
Yeah.
know, or does it look like a drawing? You know, that's kind of an easy way of telling the difference between
That is a
the
good
two
way to
as
put
well.
it.
Yeah,
Well said, my friend.
thank you.
Since you're up and talking, we'll go into
Yeah.
fine line. Let's talk a little bit about fine line, pros and cons behind fine line tattoos, because there are definitely pros and there are cons
Yeah.
for fine line tattoos for
Yeah,
sure.
I feel like most artists here have like done or at least dabbled in fine lines. I think everyone can agree as far as the pros and cons go. I mean, pros are it looks super nice if you're not really into big bulky tattoos. If you're more into dainty, more like elegant sort of tattoos, fine line's pretty popular. I feel like fine line right now is really popular with like younger generations as well. As I mentioned earlier, I have a pretty young clientele, so a lot of like college kids come in and they want fine line because it's a little less intimidating than a big traditional piece or, you know, a big realism piece. It's easier to get your parents to approve a fine line design when you're, you know, 16, 17, 18 years old. But that being said, because it is so fine and so small, you do have some longevity issues with it, which we always try and kind of tell our clients prior to going into the tattoo. Like, just so you know, you're probably going to have to touch this up, you know, in 5 years. And there is a lot, especially if you're getting it so young, too. Longevity is definitely the biggest con, I feel like, with fine line. Also, your placement of the tattoos can really affect your fine line. Earlier, I had a rib tattoo up, and that the ribs kind of suck and kind of age a little bad sometimes, especially with that style. So you gotta really make sure your client is aware and aware of the potential touch-ups and all that good stuff.
I feel like there's a couple other styles that almost kind of fit within those same guidelines. Like you think about like micro portraits a few years back were really, really big and popular, and that's like
Yeah.
another style that I feel it looks really great when you first get it, but it's one that will more than likely probably need to be touched up a lot sooner than another style would, like traditional or So.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
your sort of color outline too is gonna be pretty much within the same guidelines. You're definitely gonna need to touch that stuff up after a while.
Yeah, color outlines. They're fun. They look cool right at the beginning, but over time, I mean, if it's not a dark, saturated color, it's not going to stand. If it's yellow, pink, orange,
And you have to take care
it's gonna
of
be
your
gone.
tattoos.
Yeah,
if
if you
that's
like
the
the
type of
sun,
thing
then
that, that you
you're
enjoy.
at a loss.
And while we're talking about differences in tattoos, you were talking about fine line, and traditional. There's definitely pain differences between getting a fine line tattoo, a realistic tattoo, and a traditional tattoo. And I think that makes a big difference. I feel that's why a lot of kids who are getting their first tattoos are more geared towards the fine line, because it's a nice, easy way to ease into it. I mean, yeah, traditional tattoos, I mean, they're big, fat, bold lines,
Yeah.
and they're tattoos that are built to last, and it's gonna hurt. You got a fat liner, pulling these thick lines versus something that's fine line. Yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt as much, having a
Which
fine
that's
line.
really interesting that you mentioned that too, because you think about like some people say, oh, this tattoo artist was heavy-handed, or this tattoo artist is really light-handed, and yeah, there might be that outlier of a tattoo artist really digging into you, but they shouldn't
Probably
be,
not.
because if they are, they're probably scarring the skin. If someone feels heavy-handed, it has more to do with the needle configuration than it does necessarily
Or the
the
machine.
artist.
Yeah.
Like me not using my Dan Cuban anymore because my clients always were terrified of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's loud and
Yeah,
scary.
it's loud. If I was using that machine, I was using a fat ass liner with it. So
And mind
Not
you, we
only
love
did
Dan
it sound
Cubans.
really
We
good,
love Dan
but-
Cubans. We're
Yeah,
not saying
yeah,
anything
yeah.
about bad
But it
about
is
Dan Cubans,
intimidating.
but
We actually had a situation not long ago. It was so funny, but we had like a flash event, and I tattooed a client that typically goes to Jordan, and she had made a comment. I think I was tattooing her shin, and her comment was, "Oh my God, you're so much softer than Jordan." And it's like, well, yeah, I'm doing a much lighter, less complicated, softer design on you.
yeah.
It's not that you typically get big traditional pieces by Jordan. I'm doing something much softer and daintier. So yeah, I'm gonna be a lot softer than Jordan.
and I'll be honest with you, like in the way that I tattoo, because I've been tattooing for so long, I've learned how to be effective in my tattooing. That I get in and I get out, and I commit to my lines, and I will pull a big line, because I feel like pulling a nice big clean line looks so nice in the finished overall product, rather than like having a pickup and a start off point. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking on the clientele side of things, all I have from your traditional tattoos, and they don't hurt. They're just more time consuming, so the skin gets a little bit more raw. But in the end, I mean, title of the podcast, Bold Will Hold. Like, I have had very minimal fading issues and things of that nature with your art style. I've had bad tattoos, I've had good tattoos. Bad tattoos hurt.
Yeah.
Good tattoos don't.
Well, that's not true. That's
yeah,
not true.
Yeah, long
Good-
good
tattoos
but
can hurt,
Yeah.
because I have
I'm
definitely
thinking
had.
about me
I've
getting
had-
tattooed a couple weeks ago.
there's
that
a
shit
lot of
hurted.
elements. Yeah.
It's a different kind of sting. Like
But
a
that's-
good tattoos hurt. You're getting
Yeah.
a needle shoved in you at multiple revolutions a second. It's going to hurt, but there's a different. It's like a. Okay, this is gonna sound really weird and very kinky. It's not meant to be.
It's a good pain.
Pleasurable
Yeah.
pain behind a good tattoo.
No, there's
you know
definitely.
when you're getting a bad one because it just burns. There's no other way to describe it.
Feels
just
like hot
burns.
hell.
Yeah, if you're a pretty
Yeah.
heavily tattooed person, you can tell the difference. You know if you're getting someone that's probably blowing your shit out like crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which also, while we're on the pain topic, what do you guys prefer more, sitting through line work or sitting through shading? These are
Shading's
two different
easier.
types of pain.
Shading's
not easier
all
when
day.
you've sat through 4 hours of line
I'm
work,
thinking
though.
about my doodle bob, and that shading about took
Yeah.
me the fuck out.
I don't know. I
for
feel like
so
I can
long.
handle the line work
It
because
all-
it's in that first half, and then the shading, I'm like, oh, get it over.
I feel like
with.
everyone's
it depends on the
opposite.
location too, because
True, I
like
agree. Also, did I get are we doing it all in one day, or are
do
we
we
breaking
break it
this
up?
up? Cause
yeah, because like my stomach, that was
You know?
two
Yeah.
very long, 4.5 hour sessions, and that really was not bad, but the back of the head,
it's ridiculous.
yeah, that hurt. That really hurt.
Yeah.
But honestly, the shading was nowhere near as bad as the line work was, at least on the
Okay.
head.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, I prefer getting shaded and coloring versus line work.
Same.
Line
Yeah.
work
prefer
just
to
feels
not
like a
get
hot
it.
blade cutting you.
They're two different, definitely two different types of pains. I'll have like customers ask what's the difference between them, and I feel like one, because all the needles are condensed, it's just such a when you get line work, it's so much more punchier.
Yeah.
But shading, it's like
You're kinda
spread
like-
out,
Yeah, and you're
so
not
it's
really
softer.
in the same
But some people hate shading
spot
because you're
for that long.
constantly hitting. Yeah, you're hitting the
Yeah.
same spot. So like by the end, your skin is just
Blending it
raw.
out.
Yeah, which I
Those
think goes
eyelashes.
back to are we doing it all in one go, or are we coming
Yeah,
back to it a
right.
couple
Yeah,
weeks
I
apart,
am
you know?
always down to break it up into
Yeah.
sessions.
And sometimes it's good to break it up into sessions. And that's something good to talk about right now as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes clients get upset, like if you call a tattoo, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're working on a big
You as an
tattoo,
artist.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you see that they're squirming and moving out of control, like
At that point, your
you
body
call
is
it
telling you
because
you are done.
you as an artist can't do solid work, and they're not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
And chances are, the more you hurt them, the longer it's going to take for them to come back in. So I think it's better to sometimes call it.
Well,
And
sometimes their
just-
skin by a certain point just doesn't take ink anymore.
Yeah, even if
Absolutely.
they can sit
Even if
through
it's
it,
like a
their
fresh
skin might
area.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's also like be mindful. Like if you are trying to bust through a tattoo all in one go, like try and be courteous of your tattoo artist too, because like I had an instance where I did like a larger back piece, and that client was very adamant about finishing it all in that session, and we did it, but I went home like walking like an old man and like sweating, and I hadn't eaten all day, and I was like on the
Yeah.
verge of tears, and I
It's
was like,
called tattoo.
yeah, it's like
We're not
well,
robots.
yeah, not to, that was an extreme circumstance, but it's I always appreciate the client that's like, do you need a break? I'm like, yes, I do. Let me get up.
That's something
Yeah.
interesting
I
too.
need a
with
Snickers.
tattoos.
I'm not
Taking
me when I'm
Lots of
hungry.
breaks versus like one break.
Yeah. I mean, and it's definitely okay to ask for breaks in
Oh,
your
yeah.
tattoo when you're getting tattooed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We probably want one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But keep in mind,
Some
the
gym
more
would be nice.
breaks that you take, it
Your
can
customers always
it
bring
can
you
cause
stuff.
you to be I don't know, once you stop and start, like I feel like it hurts more
Definitely.
for me
Yeah.
personally. So
Yeah.
I'd rather take less breaks when I'm getting tattooed, because
That's why
I
you
feel
still
like
need
it
to
hurts
spray.
less.
Yeah, it's definitely like, half a dozen one,
team it
half
up.
dozen the other. You get that break that you need to be able to finish the tattoo, but like Jordan was saying, every time that you do take that break, that skin really kind of the irritation jumps up a little bit more. So then when you go back through with that needle, it feels twice as intense.
Yeah, which brings to another thing that Cheyenne said. She brought up numbing spray. We do condone some numbing spray, but only the numbing spray that we supply. I definitely like the stuff that we supply because we know it doesn't have more than 4% lidocaine.
Yeah.
And there's certain instructions that we follow and guidelines to keep our customers safe. And that's the most important thing that we worry about is our client safety first and foremost.
Yeah.
You know, when we're doing it. But yeah, we definitely don't overuse it.
Yeah, I don't like reapplying. You get one
You get
use
one
when you
use
come
and
in.
that's
After
it.
that, if you
Yeah.
can't handle the heat, then we'll
Get out of the kitchen.
Yeah,
get
when you
into the
hear
kitchen another
when you
day.
hear people saying, "Oh, is it okay if I use numbing cream?" I hear other tattoo artists don't like it because, you know, it messes with the skin. Yes, to an extent. That like first pass, maybe not so much of the numbing cream, but when you sit there and ask to reapply it, you know, a few times,
Yeah.
your skin turns into like a brick.
Rubber.
It's so hard to tattoo. So, you know, I think at least at our shop, we're all really cool about you wanting to numb up for that beginning session. And of course, numbing cream's gonna wear off. You're not going under. You know, you're still a human.
Yeah, I feel like if you gotta use numbing cream, it's best to break it up because, say you get all the line work done, when you get into the shading, then that numbing cream doesn't work anymore, and now you're feeling all that pain all at once,
Yeah.
and then everything on top of it after that.
Yeah, that is a con to the numbing cream is when the pain comes back around, it's like super intense now because you put yourself through all of that.
Jordan, you
trauma.
felt that first experience on your arm, didn't you? Didn't you have one tattoo that the numbing cream wore off halfway through?
Or is that your stomach?
I don't remember.
I remember you
numbing
being
cream didn't work
tattooed
on my
though, and then
chest,
it did.
and that hurt.
So it's
Oh,
great. Like if
oh,
you're
So-
So
getting
your
so
thigh.
A
oh
bad
my
area.
thigh.
Thigh.
My,
Oh, was it
okay.
your-
So yes.
no, that was no. That,
No,
the thigh
I-
was a different
my
situation.
okay, so my thigh, my thigh was pretty brutal. Way to not have your phone on mute, Britton.
I mean,
Um,
I had to have
so-
it on.
Production world, that's $10.
so, now I lost train of thought. What were we talking about?
We were talking about your sexy
Your
thigh.
Okay, so my thigh
Okay, so
got a huge piece done in 3.5 hours. Tattoo looks great. The artist had used some numbing spray on me, and it worked great. And by the time I was getting tattooed in Louisville, by the time we made it up to Indianapolis, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like I got all the pain instantly right off the bat, and man, did that suck. Like,
yeah.
so you really got to think, is numbing it out really worth it? Because you're still going to feel it, whether it's right off the bat or
Yeah.
exactly. And it's
Gonna
kind of
feel it
it's
eventually.
it's kind of like that instance of you have a frog in boiling water. If you start it off in cold water and you start it boiling, it's not going to jump out because it gets used to it. To where if you throw a frog into boiling water, it's going to jump out because, oh my God, it's so shocked.
That was
you
one of
know?
the craziest
That was the
things
So-
craziest
I've ever
analogy
heard.
I've ever
But
Yeah.
but it
That was
really works
amazing.
though.
Yeah, that's right.
It makes total sense of how it
So,
could work.
When are we having frog legs at your house?
We are not having frog legs
Like
anytime
chicken.
soon.
But people that have been on the show Hot Ones, and then they've also been on Truth or Dab, they said there's a difference because when you start on Hot Ones, you go from the lowest heat to the highest heat. So by the time you've hit this, your
You're
tongue has
used to
gone
it.
numb to the pain to where you can stand the hot wings. But if you're doing Truth or Dab, you're immediately going to the hottest sauce that they've got.
Yeah.
They said it is a shock to the system, punch in the face that you never expected.
Yeah, I
I
will
can't
say.
imagine like what shitting is like after that show.
I will
Yeah,
say
it's
though,
pretty
even
brutal.
towards the, your skin will sort of numb itself out a little bit, but once you're like 5 hours, 4 hours into it, it doesn't matter. You just have to like tap the skin, and it hurts.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're
But you just gotta
Still
find your
tender.
happy place when you're getting tattooed. You know, you just kind of gotta zen out and,
Find your happy place.
you know, just remember it's only momentary pain. It's not something that's gonna stick.
Pain
with
is
pain, no
temporary,
gain.
tattoos
Whoa.
are forever.
Hey, that's why I'm a tattooer and not a piercer. Piercings hurt. They hurt for a
Piercings?
long time.
They're scary.
Tattoos, they hurt for like
Couple
maybe
weeks.
maybe
A day
maybe
or two.
yeah. If it
Yeah.
hurts for a couple
Sorry,
weeks,
I
you're
thought we were
getting
talking about
tattooed
healing.
wrong.
Yeah,
Right,
true.
yeah. Maybe
I
if you're
break my
talking about
clients'
the hair
arms when
growing
I
back.
tattoo them.
Gotta get the good protected.
But back to the numbing stuff. One product that we use here, like I said, is Electrum. We use the Electrum numb stuff. You can purchase that from Electrum personally if you want. They have a numbing cream we suggest. And we also suggest using Mad Rabbit numbing cream. You can buy that at Walmart. Please do not purchase any numbing cream off of Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, Mad Rabbit
Because-
is on Amazon, but
yeah, but
Yes,
you
yes.
can get it at Walmart. So
You
just
can get
go
it at Walmart.
where it's
You
the
know it's
actual
safe
Mad
and
Rabbit
it's
and
it's
not-
been taken care of.
yeah.
Just be very mindful, because like when you're buying online, like
You
know,
don't.
check those reviews and
Yeah, make
actually
sure
like
you're
look
getting what
into
you
it. Do your
pay
research.
for.
But there's.
Yeah.
'cause-
I feel like there's a lot of problems with other numbing creams online on Amazon that they refuse to give out an ingredient list.
yeah,
Like
Just the products you guys recommend.
that is a serious problem. Like if you can't give out any sort of ingredients, like I don't want to put your product on my body,
Yeah.
like or in my body. Like that's dangerous.
yeah, there's a lot of numbing creams you can get that aren't even FDA approved. You don't.
They're like
You
actually
can't even read
banned
the- yeah.
at this point.
I'm pretty sure there's a
They
bunch
banned a bunch.
that are
And
banned. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I'd say a majority of creams out there are all gonna be 5% lidocaine based. I know Mad Rabbit is, but they're not allowed to,
Okay.
like FDA wise, I believe, go above
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
either 5 or 10%. And then after that, they have to use a separate different ingredient that also numbs or
Yeah.
Right.
allows some type of absorption.
Mhm.
What else would you guys like to speak
Someone
about?
put something in the
Zombie,
chat.
Zombie Man Twitch has a question for us. They want to know: do you have an opinion on things that seem like a gimmick at first, but then come to be a staple to tattooing, like second skin and rotary machines? Things coming up like ink beetle. Have any of you guys heard of ink beetle?
Yes,
Yes.
ink
I don't
beetle
know what ink beetle is.
terrifies me.
What is
ink
it?
beetle?
And so it is essentially,
It's like a liquid second skin.
yeah, it's a
Oh.
liquid
It's
second.
liquid bandage, pretty much. like-
But it makes
Oh,
no
like that
sense to me
spray?
that
Like
like
that spray that
Yep.
people are using?
yes, but if the tattoo
Disease.
needs to bleed
Mhm.
and release that plasma, if you have this on there, it does not allow that to escape anywhere. Like I've been
does it?
doing lots of research on it, and I have not seen anybody put like positive things that they.
Yeah, I actually had a client I did a chest piece on, and she told me that she had gotten something done on her back with with another artist from a different shop, and they had used that on her. And when she went to remove it, it had ripped her skin, and
Ooh.
it gave her like insane blisters, and she had like a terrible reaction to it.
Oh.
And then, tried to maybe say, oh, maybe it was just an allergic reaction, but then actually had a friend of hers go to the same artist, same exact reaction. So it wasn't even like an allergy thing. It truly was that bandage. So I don't know if it was the brand. I'm not sure.
And it might just be something new too, because in theory, it sounds like it would work. You know, you've had cuts before, you use liquid bandage, and
Right.
it does help. I don't know. I guess I don't know. It'd be interesting. Maybe it's not developed enough yet, or maybe there's not enough research to, like you said, if it had an expandability aspect to it,
Yeah.
to be able to allow that tattoo and that skin to breathe a little bit, maybe.
I feel like artists probably had the same opinion about Sanoderm, Second Skin, Tachoderm whenever it came out too.
True.
There was prior to that, it was the saran wrap method, and that gave lots of room to breathe, and you could take that off in a couple hours, and now you have a bandage that has to stay on for a few days. So I'm sure that was scary at the time being as well. I wouldn't know.
Sanoderm,
I've
though.
had Sanoderm the entire time I've been tattooing.
Yeah.
So
Coming
I think
from
it's
a
a-
blue collar worker though, second skin, Sanoderm, whatever you want to call it, is an innovation that was much needed.
Yeah.
before
Oh, absolutely.
ceramic wrap and things of that nature. Like the tattoo that's on my wrist, that was pre-Sanoderm days, and all I had, because at the time I was working for a company that was building chains that go on to idlers and things of that nature, and I was
I thought you were like
constantly-
mimicking a chain or something.
I was constantly running my hands in and like shit into things,
Ooh,
and just never.
I
had
like
a
that
layer
movement.
of
What is
protection.
that?
I bet you did. Yeah.
And for anybody who doesn't know what he's doing behind the camera, it looks a little bit like this.
But now with that layer of protection, I don't have to worry nearly as much about the shit that I'm working in,
Yeah.
touching essentially an open wound that is trying to heal.
Yeah, it keeps
so
it nice
it's
and
an innovation
protected.
That was much needed, and I'm glad that they worked out the kinks, unlike things that are coming out like Ink Beetle, where I agree with you. How is it supposed to dry and everything else like that while it's also escaping stuff out of your body?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting. How is something supposed to dry on something that's
Supposed to essentially remain.
yeah, releasing fluids like
Yeah.
out of your body. By the way, everybody, that is Zombieman Twitch, also one of my best buds, Miklo. He is the man behind the scenes. We got another OG. His name's Braxton. Wasn't feeling well, so he wasn't able to join us this week. But he will be with us on future podcasts. I'm super excited to have him on with us because he's gonna give that that customer non-biased opinion when we're talking about other subjects in tattooing culture that we're going to be discussing in the near future. The podcast will be bi-weekly, so definitely look forward to doing this more. But yeah, anything anybody wants to... Anything else you guys would like to speak about? No? Alright, well then I think that will be a wrap for our first show this evening. Thank you everybody that came in and watched. Make sure you give us a like, a follow.
Don't
and
forget to
some
mention the giveaway at 1K.
Oh yeah!
1K
What?
giveaway.
1K giveaway. Cheyenne and
On
I are doing
YouTube.
a $1,000 tattoo giveaway to any one of the first 1,000 followers on YouTube. You do not have to purchase anything. It is 100% free. You just gotta follow us, and definitely watch out on some of our videos.
Are we doing?
We love you,
Are we
Sam.
doing follow
scratch
Bold
me.
Will Hold and Bluebird Tattoo, or how are we? What?
I think
what
we
are they
mentioned-
following?
Everything is Bold Will Hold podcast.
Yeah.
You can check the link tree for every social we have.
Bold Will Hold podcast. Check the link tree.
Yep. But yeah, thanks for checking out our podcast. This was the first one. It was fun.
Let us know
get
if
less
you
awkward over
want us to
time.
talk about something next time.
Yeah,
definitely.
if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to ask anytime. And yeah, we
Shoot us
can.
a DM.
Yeah, you can shoot us a DM on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. We're always around.
We don't have Facebook yet.
For yeah, but they could
Whatever we
message
do
us
have.
on Bluebird if you want us to talk about a topic. Oh yes, before we leave, definitely want to give a shout out to an OG who passed away today, a legend in tattooing, Jack Rudy. What a phenomenal black and gray tattooer. He really kind of, him and Freddie Negretti really started a lot of the black and gray movement, and yeah, it's sad to see another legend lost in this industry. But yeah, with that being said, thank you everybody for following and watching today.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Love you.